This is just a guess, but I would comfortably double my figure of 24 million to 48 million to account for that, and that's still probably too low.
$48 million. That is quite a lot of money. Like, Zesty's done the work here, and he's laid out all the numbers for us clear as day, right? But after watching his video, there was still a really nagging question on my mind that his video didn't answer. That being, so what? You know? TF2 makes Valve all this money, but so what? Like, why should I care? Why should you care? What do we even do with this information that he's provided us? Well, let me answer that for you. Boycott. Boycott, boycott, boycott. Valve's cash flow from TF2 needs to get cut. People need to stop spending money on this game. We don't need a fancy hashtag or a movement to rally behind. We just need a simple, tried and true boycott. Stopping giving money to Valve is the easiest thing everyone can do. This is not rocket science. But you can go the extra mile as well. Stop playing casual mode. Go to community servers. You know, after all, if casual loses its players, Valve is effectively spending money on nothing by keeping the servers up. You don't need to sell anything, delete anything, or really even do anything. All you need to do is stop doing something, i.e. spending money. It's literally more effort and money to spend any amount on TF2 than it is to not spend money. Like, seriously, if you can't not spend money on this game, even though it could only help, there's an issue. There is an issue. This should be obvious, but I do have more to say here, and people aren't going to like to hear this, but it needs to be said. The state of this game is partially the community's fault. While Valve might be the one making the final decision, they ultimately do so in response to the financial incentives that we as the customer base put them under. Every single dollar spent on this game is a green flag to Valve telling them that this is acceptable, just like Zesty said in his video. If you truly care about this game getting better, you need to stop spending money. Stop buying unusuals, keys, tickets, whatever. Every penny counts, as you can clearly see from Zesty's video. Oh, and don't think that as a consequence of this could just be bypassed by using a third-party site. No, sir. Even if you're buying from a third-party site, Valve still benefits from this, although not as directly. But how? How does Valve not lose out when you use a third-party site? It is simple supply and demand here. That seller on the third-party site has people buying from them, so they will continue to provide these things to the customers. But how do they get those things? You know, like unusuals, taunts, and the like. Well, they have to spend money on TF2 directly. Unboxing, playing man vs. machine, whatever. But wait, someone might say, what if they bought it off someone else before selling it to me? That doesn't really change anything. Follow the chain of events here. The first person had to have given Valve money. Even if they only spent a few bucks to unbox before that item gets moved down the line, that's still a few bucks sent to Valve. And as Zesty's video shows, those few bucks add up. Seriously, think about this. Think about the nature of buyers and sellers. Sellers will not stock up if there are not people buying. That, again, is basic supply and demand. If there is no demand, sellers aren't going to supply. If people stopped buying from these sites en masse, the sellers, case openers, MBM gamblers, all of them would be forced to halt production of the items so that they don't money drain themselves. And of course, this would impact Valve too. In Team Fortress, it is Valve casinos we're playing in, right? And what's the unspoken rule of a casino? The house always wins. Engaging in the economy in any way contributes to this game's decay. No amount of ethically sourced key cope bullshit can stop that. There is no means in which to interact with the economy and not have Valve benefit. The only way not to give Valve money is to stop interacting, stop buying, stop selling. This is the only way. The economy keeps going and going. The wheels keep turning, and Valve sees this and they benefit from it. If change is to happen, this needs to stop. But there is still a big cope or two I see people say as to why they don't want to or don't think a boycott would work. First one being, you can't convince everyone to boycott, and or maybe you couldn't even convince an overwhelming majority of the community to do it. And to that I say, so what? Boycotts don't require literally everyone to do it in order for them to be effective. Even if, let's say, hypothetically here, 30% of the player base boycotting, that's still a pretty large portion of TF2's revenue being taken from Valve. Okay, but even this hypothetically be a high ball. So what? What if it's 20%? 10%? It doesn't really matter. Any money being removed from the equation hurts Valve's bottom line. But what about the whales? That's the other cope. Even if you can convince a large amount of people to boycott, the whales will just make up the difference, right? Now, this is incredibly presumptuous and assumes that the majority of money TF2 makes is from a few people that spend all their money on the game. But let's be realistic here. How many people are genuinely doing that? Realistically, not that many. The majority of money in this game is almost certainly made by people doing a few unboxes here, buying a few tour duty tickets here, etc. It's a matter of a great deal of smaller purchases adding up over time, and that builds up obviously. Most TF2 players spend some amount of money on the game, even if it's only a small amount. While the whales definitely bring in a decent amount of revenue on their own, they are not the only source of income, not even the majority. But of course, this is all really pessimistic and assumes that basically nobody will boycott. The thing is people might be forgetting though, is that we have history on our side for this. I have a few examples here. First one, item quality improvements. TLDR, the quality of cosmetics, unusuals, maps, taunts, and war paints is pretty dog shit in 2020, 2021, and most of 2022. I think most people know, saw, and can agree on that, right? Seriously, outside of ironic use cases, were people actually using any of these? Were people really lining up to play red space? Synthetic? Exactly. Now, in summer of 2023, specifically, we started to see a major improvement for everything. We got some fan-favorite maps like Cashworks, Phoenix, Shark Bay, and others. We got taunts that are actually taunts and people actually use, like the Killer Signature. We got cosmetics that aren't literally a fucking toaster on NG's head, etc. But why the sudden shift in quality? Well, if you've been paying attention to the video that you're watching right now, you can probably guess where this is going. That's right, people stopped spending money. People weren't buying the total slop from the previous years, nor were they engaging with the maps. Overall, it was making TF2 lose money. And here's the thing, the whales were whaling. They were mass opening cases, buying new slot cosmetics, getting new unusuals, all that jazz. And yet Valve was forced to improve the content being added. And guess what? This isn't even the best instance to know. The Left 4 Dead 2 boycott. Left 4 Dead 2 boycott? What are you talking about? Well, for those of you who don't know, when Left 4 Dead 2 was originally announced, there was a pretty decently large public backlash to it since it was announced so soon after the release of Left 4 Dead 1. So because of this, a pretty sizable group of players decided we're going to boycott the upcoming game, and they even made a decently large Steam group dedicated to that cause. Well, evidently Valve caught wind of this because they actually invited the community leaders behind the rallying to their offices so they could get an exclusive look at the game. They did this to show the fans that the game was actually worth it, and not just a cash grab like people were thinking it was. Seems like the people who got the invitation there were persuaded, because the movement died pretty soon after that. But what does that tell us? What do these two historical events tell us? It tells us Valve responds to money. Valve responds to public backlash. Take everything I've said in this video now. At this point, if you still don't plan on boycotting to get Valve to give us better quality stuff for TF2, to improve the game, you either think that what we have is fine, or you care more about your self-indulgent hedonism than the game state itself. In either case, you do not value TF2, and you do not want it to be its best self. That is all there is to it. Remember, no hashtags, no branding, just a good old-fashioned boycott. That's all I gotta say here. Let's make a change, people. I'll see you on the flip side.